Everyone's talking about it but me. Everyone's talking about it but me. Oh no. Immortal Marcus is talking about it. 4+ is talking about it. Wow Man's talking about it. But I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking. YouTuber meltdown. Oh no. Call the police. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're talking about it. Yeah, we're talking about the thing. Sonic Analog Horror dropped, and it's big. It's a big, fat, steaming chimichanga. And it's getting bigger. Okay? It's a runaway horse, people. It cannot be stopped. Before I get started, clink the dink down in the description below, and watch it for yourselves. Because if you don't do that, Sonic is going to eat your house. And I'm going to help him, actually. Yeah, I'm going to take the stairs while he takes the roof, okay? And you don't want that to happen. Some of you intellectuals might be asking yourselves, well, what is Sonic? What is analog horror? Okay, now, well, that's a loaded fucking question, so give me a minute. Hold on a second. I'm getting there, okay? The first episode in the Shin Sonic series by Evan Emos shows us seemingly found footage, of course. It might seem a little unclear at first, but if you look closely, you'll see that it's actually Sonic standing in a dark room with Eggman's mutilated corpse. What happened and what led up to this point? Before we can even process what's happening, Sonic reminds us that red mist was once a thing by showing us his all-seeing glow-in-the-dark eyes. After giving us a welcoming smile, the footage momentarily cuts to static and then to an EAS message. Emergency alert system. An unknown threat has been causing harm to people in the area. There have been several mutilations and reported missing persons in the past day. Authorities are currently investigating. Be alert, lock your doors, windows, and arm yourselves. And now, here's the Five Nights at Freddy's reference you never asked for. Here we are shown security footage from outside of a person's home and then inside. Everything seems normal at first, that is, until we return once more to the outside security camera. Someone is watching. Once we return to the inside of the house footage, glass can be heard breaking. Now he is inside the house looking at camera, and oh my god, he sees you, he's in your house. In the blink of an eye, he scuttles up the stairs like a little rat man. From one of the cameras, we can hear a door slowly creak open, and in the next scene, we are forced to watch this monstrosity unfold from the perspective of someone helplessly hiding in their bedroom. Sonic watches patiently from the darkness, and based on his facial expression, I can only assume that he pissed the bed again. The person tries to hide under the covers, but it's no use. Sonic already has their liver in his sights. Now, this is where things get fun, guys. And if you weren't having fun before, you're definitely having fun now. This video pops right off with this goofy looking animal. Look at him. Look at this fucking creature, man. Sonic looked down at his lunk bach. He opened it up and eat some small little guy. Okay, I'm following. Yes, I understand. Me comprende. Then he look over and you know what? You know what he sees? He sees this funny looking bird and a vehicle, okay? Can you tell I've never played any of the Sonic games before, by the way? Anyway, so he beats the fuck out of this bird, and this causes him to get his analog horror swagger on, which is pretty relatable, honestly. And then he breaks the vehicle, which has a very small pig inside, and he eats it. And let me tell you folks, okay? This right here causes him to go very, very fast, okay? You can't even comprehend how fast this is. This is what makes him go to town, basically. Several zones later, a very unimposing Eggman can be seen bonding with another small creature, which, by the way, I think these are called critters or forest animal friends or something in the original Sonic lore. And in the lore, of course, Dr. Eggman actually kidnaps these little fucks and forces them to drive around in these little robot cars called badniks. I literally had to Google all that shit, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. And I like how Eggman is actually not portrayed as a villain here, but as a fun, round little guy that's just giving these woodland creatures of the Sonic universe free forms of transportation, which is honestly very base, especially In this economy, mind you. While this wholesome cutscene doesn't last for long because Sonic busts down the wall and he's fucking pissed. He asks if Eggman is the one turning his food into inedible pieces of metal junk. He announces to Eggman that there will be consequences for his actions. Now, if you guys don't know, this video basically serves as the prequel to part 1 that we watched earlier. And if you did know that, well then shut the fuck up, I wasn't talking to you, okay? Be quiet, sit back down. In the 3rd episode, Tails wakes up in his cave home as he usually does, of course. This is commonly known Sonic information. Keep with the times, okay? But it's too late because Sonic is inside. He's inside the cave and he is poised to attack. Tails here is very afraid, but instead of mauling Tails or even eating him alive, Sonic injects his tongue into the back of his neck. We'll see what this means for our good friend Tails a little bit later. Over the past 3 weeks, there have been an exponential number of missing persons reports. Several of these reports consist of individuals being taken right out of their homes. There are currently 946 people that have gone missing from the Hilltop County area. Not a single individual's body has been recovered. Search parties have been sent out into the Hilltop wilderness, but many have gone missing from those as well. The public is in hysterics and the local government doesn't know what to do. Back to real Sonic hours, okay? Both Sonic and a zombified version of Tails await the victim before the footage cuts back to text once again. The images you are about to witness were recovered from a camera that was on one of the search party members. Their whereabouts are currently unknown. The camera was found next to blood trails leading into the woods. Now, I'm not gonna lie, guys, when someone looks at you like this, okay, that's a keeper right there. That's how you know that you found that special someone. Believe me, I'm speaking from personal experience. There have also been sightings of an entity flying through the sky in the late hours of the night. Oh no, Tails, no, don't do that, Tails, no. Tails, you know that's technically considered a crime in many parts of the United States. Images of these creatures have surfaced online, but the local government refuses to acknowledge their existence. Without any logical explanation for the disappearances, many members of the public believe these entities are the kidnappers. Before this video ends, we do get a little snippet that seems to be showing us Sonic's evolutionary progression. Wow. Look at him go. See, this is what we call progress, guys. This is progressive insurance. Not sponsored. On November 14th, 2006, a police officer was called to patrol an area near the edge of the Hilltop Forest. Locals reported hearing loud cries during the late hours of the night. This is the recovered footage from the officer's body cam. And here we are actually shown body cam footage from the aforementioned police officer. He seems to be wandering through a park at night and communicating with someone over an earpiece. The voice over the intercom suddenly gets interrupted, starts to glitch, and immediately cuts out. The officer asks if they can hear him, but no response. Before he can figure out what's going on, he is lured by a strange wailing sound and soon follows after it. Now, he does eventually meet the source of the noise and, yes, motherfucker, he is as tall as the trees now. My God, off topic, but I really think that this should have been the design they went with for the Sonic movie for a number of reasons, okay? Number one, fans would have loved, no, scratch that. I would have loved it. Me personally, I would have loved it. Me. Number two, it would make me really happy. Number three, I would watch it a lot. The officer runs into the woods, and it is far from over for him. Several duplicates of Tails await him, but he's not having it. The officer continues to run, and a horrible shrieking can be heard not far behind him. Sonic is on his trail. While wandering through the woods, he stumbles upon a curious statue. I have more to say about this motif towards the end of the video, by the way. But the officer sadly doesn't have time to stare at cow nipples anymore because Sonic is right behind him. The officer's body was found the next morning, placed on the statue that appeared in the footage. His insides were removed, and even though his body was found less than 24 hours after the date in the footage, it was severely decomposed. Authorities that saw it stated that the body looked like it was turning to nothing. When authorities returned to the location of the statue later that day, it was nowhere to be seen. The public has been recommended to evacuate areas with high disappearances, but the footage is not being released as to not cause any more panic. Now, before we end the video, I really want to show you guys this part. It's really funny. It's really fucking funny, I promise. Whose dog is that, am I right? Man, that sure is a weird looking dog, am I right? Well, we got another little animation for you, chat. This time we get to catch up with Knuckles the Echidna. What's that son of a bitch been up to? I don't fucking know. So Knuckles is running and he's all like, what happened to everything? As he's running, he stumbles upon the rotting corpse of Shadow the Hedgehog.
God, I'm stupid. I don't know why I said that. That's literally the same Robotnik from before, and it's the same bird that Sonic beat the shit out of. But that does look like Shadow the Hedgehog. Like, I mean, come on. Like, look at that shit. It looks exactly like him. Like, you can't blame me for that. It's not my fault. Okay, it is. I'm done.
Guess we're not getting the Sonic and Shadow fanfic we wanted, guys. Fuck, man. He asks who would do this. He runs around some more until he runs into a cliff with Tails peering down from the top of it. He asks if Tails knows what's going on, but receives no answer. This is when Tails duplicates and starts to shake around a little bit. He's very excited, guys, okay? Now, at this point, Knuckles throws up his fists, okay? He's ready to catch a bitch outside, okay? Gosh, oh, he's right behind me, isn't he? Sonic grows really big and tall, and look, he even gives Knuckles a gracious smile. Well, that just looks like a good friend right there. In all honesty, go on, shake his hand. And this is the first time I realized that Sonic could even speak fucking English at this point, but here he tells Knuckles to try to run, and try he did, but as you guys probably guessed, there's a reason why Sonic is smiling and Knuckles isn't. Sonic catches up to Knuckles pretty quickly, and the next sequence is it's a little bit trippy, so stay with me, guys. Knuckles finally asks Sonic, "What are you?" which many of us are also asking at this point. Sonic hits him with the "I am what I need to be," and God, that is such a cheap, annoying cop-out answer, and I fucking love it. I'm going to use it, actually, at a convenient time. Notice how Knuckles is chained to 2 wooden poles here, and if you guys actually watched this video for yourselves, you probably also noticed that the sound of flames can be heard in the background, almost like a ritual. You can't be Sonic. Sonic would never do this. And what did you do to Tails? What is your motive? So many questions. Yeah, shit, fuck, I was about to say, I mean, Knuckles, slow down, buddy, one at a time, am I right? Let me show you everything. Now, this part is a little hard to describe without it sounding extremely weird, but Sonic swallows Knuckles without eating him somehow. It's not like that. It's not what it sounds like. It's God, fuck, I'm sorry, shit. Several images flash on the screen here, like an image of bacteria, Sonic's beautiful smile, Eggman's mutilated corpse, and various other scenes from throughout the series. Interestingly, there's also a few images of the same cow idol from before that appear on the screen, with some of the runes that were carved into its chest as well also appearing on the screen.
Forgot to mention this, but also right after the Hebrew text flashes on the screen in the bottom right corner, you can see the words "help us."
Now, if you guys don't know, the god that's being depicted here is actually Moloch, which is a Canaanite god mentioned at certain times throughout the Bible. I'm going to elaborate on that, though, towards the end of the video, but I just wanted to have a name to put to a face. There's also some Hebrew words that briefly flashed on the screen, which translates to Meller. I'm assuming this is a name that hasn't gained any significance yet in the series, but I'm just throwing it out there. It might be elaborated later on in future episodes. The screen suddenly goes white and peaceful music plays in the background. Knuckles asks, "What is this?" The Super Emeralds from the original Sonic games appear on the screen and text beneath them ordering Knuckles to seek them out. Knuckles predictably asks, "The Super Emeralds?" The unknown voice states that they're his only hope. It needs the Chaos Emeralds for the ritual. Don't let it complete the ritual. What happens if it does? The unknown voice doesn't respond to this question, but in the next scene, chanting can be heard in the background, and we can see the reflection of a long-tongued Sonic in Knuckles' eyeball. Ew, he's like a stupid lizard. Ew. The final episode so far opens up with a wooden sign that reads Palm Tree Panic, which, if you guys don't know, it's basically the very first level that you play in Sonic. Knuckles can be seen walking past this sign and up to a fallen past sign. The next scene shows us Gun Report, which canonically is the military in the Sonic universe. Sonic has become too large and powerful to keep hidden from the public. The replicants of what appear to be Tails have become incredibly widespread as well. This no longer concerns only the United States. Sonic is evolving at a rapid rate, and if something isn't done soon, the entire planet will be in danger. Sonic has exhibited incredible speeds even at its immense size. The next clip shows us a view of Sonic from a helicopter, and my oh my, that's a big fucking boy. Then he looks at the camera and then he zooms away really fast. That to me is honestly so fucking terrifying. Like if this was a real thing, then nowhere in the world would be fucking safe. This dude can probably no-clip across the Atlantic Ocean. Jesus Christ. Sonic cleared the several hundred-mile distance between Hilltop County and Station Square in mere seconds. Due to its size, the speed it traveled at created a shockwave that devastated everything along its path. It seemed to have no interest in the civilians of Station Square. It walked around almost like it was searching for something, until it let out a deathly cry. The next scene shows Sonic, again from a helicopter view, screaming like the maniac that he is. He just won't shut up. A camera from ground view can also be seen filming Sonic at a different angle, not before Tails jumps in front of the camera and immediately disconnects it. I'm sorry, but if you're this big, then why would you even need all of these little sidekicks following you around, right? Like Santa's little helpers or something. Like, ew. Like, it's disgusting. Get rid of it. The next camera angle shows Sonic eating a green pea, which is, it's not a green pea, by the way. It's actually one of the Chaos Emeralds. This makes him very excited, of course. It's the forbidden flavor of Gusher. He couldn't be happier. After it obtained the emerald, it disappeared in the blink of an eye. A former associate of Gun, Knuckles, the echidna, brought an interesting course of action to our attention. At one point in time, the Super Emeralds were at an immense peak in power. Knuckles suggests that while Gun focuses on preventing Sonic from acquiring more emeralds, he will return to the time of the Super Emeralds. If you guys don't know, Super Emeralds are basically a more powerful version of the Chaos Emeralds in the Sonic universe of sorts, right? And it allows Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails to reach their hyper forms. Again, this is coming from someone with basically no prior knowledge of the game, and I'm fucking trying. I'm sorry, okay? I'm not exactly aware of the Sonichu medallion. I can't help it. I'm not an expert. With the death of Dr. Ivo Robotnik and no other means of stopping such a threat, this seems to be the best option we have. The number of missing persons has long shot over the thousands. This isn't including the almost uncountable amount of casualties caused by it simply moving from one place to another. There have already been reports of Tails kidnappings in other countries. Many parts of the US have declared martial law. We fear what it can do with the power of those emeralds. May God help us all. The next scene shows Knuckles standing on a past portal thing. I don't know. So time travel is a thing, I guess, in this universe. Good to know. A voice off camera states, "Knuckles, we're good to go." The sign spins really, really fast, and with that, the video ends. Well, I'm going to be honest here. We don't have a lot to go off of, do we? But we do have enough. We have enough, and that's all that matters. So, let's start with the basics, okay? Sonic, let's be honest, he was already a little bit funny looking, okay? He already looked a little bit off, at least according to the prequel video. Something in him began to change, though, on that fateful day that one of the critters was sent to him in one of Eggman's robot car thingies, right? And for some reason, this really pissed him off. His second victim after Eggman was none other than Tails, who he was somehow able to clone or duplicate by injecting his tongue into the back of his neck. The only person that managed to escape Sonic was Knuckles through some sort of divine intervention from an unseen force. What I really want to touch on is the inclusion of Moloch in this story, which is really interesting. I gotta hand it to the creator. I would not have expected the biblical and Sonic cinematic universe to join forces in such a way. Very fascinating. Moloch was a deity traditionally worshipped by the Canaanites, also known as the Phoenicians, and was often associated with sexual rituals and child sacrifice. More specifically, children who were sacrificed to Moloch were often placed in his outstretched arms, and a fire was typically lit underneath them. This could explain the reason why flames could be heard in the background during Knuckles' first encounter with Sonic. This also explains why the police officer from before was placed in the statue's arms, as was common practice at the time, so it's very consistent with that. And his body shriveling up could be an indicator that the god was consuming its sacrifice. While the ritual that Sonic is trying to perform is undoubtedly associated with Moloch, it's a little unclear as to what it pertains and what it will eventually achieve. One thing worth noting, however, is that the term Moloch was also used as a way of referring to a type of sacrifice rather than an actual god. There's definitely been some debate as far as its origins and meaning, and it's pretty much only ever mentioned in the Bible. It's not really talked about outside of that. What I can infer, though, is that Sonic could be consuming and killing people as a form of sacrifice to Moloch, perhaps so he can achieve God status himself, or maybe even please Moloch. Perhaps he's a worshiper of it. Or maybe, to guess even further, perhaps Sonic is a representation of Moloch himself, or even more further, perhaps he is Moloch. He could be an embodiment of Moloch, or maybe he is possessed by Moloch. One of those things. I don't fucking know. This series is only 6 episodes long, and each episode is only about 3 minutes long each on average. So we're not working with a whole lot here. I'm grasping at straws, okay? That's all I've really got for now, since the series, again, it's so short, and, again, it's short. Something to do with Moloch, and I'm starting to think that maybe Sonic is a representation of Moloch himself, but we will certainly see. As always, please continue to support the creator of this series, and if you guys have any thoughts on this one, if you guys want to bounce off of me in the comments regarding Moloch worship, or its actual meaning, feel free to do so. This is actually a really interesting subject that I was only reminded of recently. I actually was already familiar with who Moloch was due to its mentioning in the Bible, but I think that the symbolism and it being tied into Sonic is really interesting. I've never really seen it used in such a way, and I'm curious as to what the Meller thing is all about. I don't know if that's going to be a character's name that's mentioned in future episodes, but put a pin in that. Put a pin in that, guys. Don't forget that name. As always, please continue to support the creator. I've left a link to the original playlist down in the description below, and thanks for suffering with me.